let's say you tend to be critical and judgmental, as too many bosses are, too many leaders. What can you do to get better, to be that accepting, valuing person rather than judging?
That is almost always going to be through a mentor or a coach, someone who models it for you that you trust, that you say, okay, I want to be like this person. I want to be able to do that. Authentic leadership is being able to be who you are, but be able to modify it in an authentic way that it has a positive impact. And often that is best done with coaching or mentoring.
A coach will not only model for you, but give you feedback so you can catch yourself and change.
Yeah. And sometimes that means the person has to go into their emotions. They may have to go into the grief of what they missed, because often that underlies they don't accept themselves. They didn't have a father who loved them, or they didn't have a grandmother or a grandparent who stepped in for the parent. So they feel that emptiness, that blind spot, and they may even have to go through an extreme situation sometimes to open that up and go into that feeling to recognize.
So at that level, it takes some psychological work, or can.
Yeah. I think coaching is this process of not just business goals, but how are you as a human being? And even bringing in actors can open this up. You know, when you use acting classes to help develop leadership, it'll open up these fears, this insecurity, how you don't accept yourself, etc. There's many ways to be able to become aware and then do something about it. Well, first, to understand the importance of being positive, to be aware that it is important. Because if you're fighting against it, then there's going to be resistance. And then to understand how to see in things the positive. 80% of people are focused on the negative. What's wrong? What's the failures, the loss, even anticipated loss? But to be a truly high-performing leader, you have to be 100% able to focus on the positive. Now, in Europe especially, we often hear people say, well, if you're too positive, you're not a good leader because you don't see the problems. The world is full of problems. There's tsunamis that happen. There's all kinds. But you see, even people who had the worst lives in their lives, Adriana who loses her leg, Jamie Fisher who loses arms and legs as again mountain climbing. I mean, you see these inspiring people who get there because they are positive, and they always had a secure base standing behind them. So being a good leader means being positive, not negative. Can you deliver tough feedback and be positive? Yes. There are people who can fire someone, like your BBC story, this is great, and people say, thank you, give me more pain. That's a wonderful mindset of high performance. I'm always interested in learning.
That's the mindset, but it reminds me of the work of Martin Seligman on learned positivity, where he takes people who may not have had that secure base, who may have the kind of thinking that makes you depressed, which is always seeing the negative, and helps them monitor their thoughts and talk back to them, which is a basic of cognitive therapy, but also to practice seeing the positive, which may not come naturally to you at first, but that's what's going to lead you to cultivate this strength that you're talking about. George, let's walk through the 12 emotional intelligence competencies and look at, first of all, what they are, why they matter, and then how do you cultivate them? Let's start with emotional self-awareness, which is the keystone of the emotional intelligence model. And it really has to do with tuning into your own feelings, being able to sense inner signals, recognize how your feelings affect you and your performance, and also being candid, being authentic. Does this resonate with your model?
Oh yes, it really means how to be insightful so that you see yourself and are aware of that impact that your own signals inside have on other people. So I think it's that delicate balance, knowing what's happening in you, being aware, and including partly how you have an impact outside.
So how would you recommend cultivating this kind of self-awareness?
I think reflection, meditation, being able to ask yourself questions. How could I do different? What is getting a result or not getting a result? And then feedback, how to really get the feedback to be able to know what impact you're having, so that if you're not looking at people's eyes, what is going on that you're not looking at people's eyes, and people tell you that. If you are talking with too many words, if you're so insecure that you are afraid to speak up, that somebody gives you that feedback to be self-aware of how to change those, and what first of all, what the problem is.
Adaptability is another very crucial competency in self-management, because it means that a leader can juggle things, can maintain their energy, can be nimble, can shift as demands shift to handle change.
I think one of the things about that is the ability to see change as positive. That people do not naturally resist change. They resist the fear of change or the pain of the unknown. So that it has to start with the mindset, change is good, problems are good, conflicts are good, so that you're already in that frame of reference that you can be adaptable. And you see very rigid people, very controlling people that cannot handle those changes and unexpected things, so that you train yourself to see those things as positive, and then watch how other people have responded to those in a positive way. How's the best boss going to respond? Asking you that question.
And this builds on the ability to stay calm in crisis in the first place, so that you can think through.
And I think the other thing, Dan, is the fundamental idea that loss is the most powerful motivator in 80% of behavioral economics, loss or anticipated loss. So that the real goal is to understand that you're losing something and be aware of that, but that you're getting a benefit, you're getting more. So the top performers are not afraid of loss. They're not afraid of what's going to change in status, roles, etc., but they can respond to that. And that underlying loss is the deepest motivator that there is in human beings, far more than benefit, except when you become a high performer. Then loss is not, you're not afraid of it, but you become really focused on what's the benefit. I'm willing to go through the pain for the benefit.